This is Danish-InfoNewsTv, your Danish English news updates. Welcome to Danish-InfoNewsTv, news updates, December 11th through 16th. Let's look at our main stories. Stolen and fake disability parking permits are being sold on social media. It may become harder for Danes to enter the United States. A former police officer has been convicted of harassing Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. A suspect in a global cocaine empire holds a Danish passport. A 24-year-old receives 13 years in a major drug case. The minister will examine a possible ban on the mosque call to prayer. Around 1,700 people risk losing benefits due to a reform, and a Romanian man receives an immediate sentence for stealing a bottle of water. We begin on Thursday, December 10th. Stolen and fake disability parking permits sold on social media. In less than 2 years, 762 disability parking permits have been reported stolen to the Danish disability organizations, which issue the permits. According to Kristeligt Dagblad, both fake and genuine permits are being offered for sale on social media. To the second of our main story, Thursday, December 10th, it may become harder for Danes to enter the United States. The Trump administration proposes that travelers from 42 visa-free countries must disclose 5 years of social media history to obtain ESTA approval. The proposal also requires previous email addresses, phone numbers, and family members' details. Critics warn of increased surveillance. The proposal is open for public comment for 60 days. Now to main story from Saturday, December 11th. Former police officer convicted of harassing Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen. A former police officer was sentenced to 8 months in prison for harassment of Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and bribery. The 55-year-old offered money to obtain confidential medical and personal data about the Justice Minister. In another main story from Saturday, December 13th, suspected head of global cocaine empire holds Danish passport. Police suspect a 37-year-old Danish citizen of Polish background of leading a massive international drug network, allegedly smuggling up to 6.5 tons of cocaine. He was arrested at Copenhagen airport and is wanted by both Poland and Spain. Now to main story from Sunday, December 14th. 24-year-old sentenced to 13 years in major drug case. A court in Aalborg sentenced a 24-year-old man to 13 years in prison for transporting and distributing large quantities of amphetamines and hash. He immediately appealed the verdict. Now to main story from Monday, December 15. Minister to examine possible ban on mosque call to prayer. The Minister for Immigration and Integration will examine whether public calls to prayer from mosques can be banned. Only 3 municipalities report having issues with such calls. In another story from Monday, December 15th, 1,700 people risk losing benefits due to reform. A labor market reform effective February of 2026 may leave around 1,700 people without income, as the resource programs are abolished after stricter conditions to apply cash assistance. Still on Monday, December 15th, a Romanian man was given an immediate sentence for stealing a bottle of water. A Romanian man received a 15-month prison sentence and a 12-year entry ban after stealing a bottle of water in Skane. He already had an entry ban to Denmark. Now to some main story from Wednesday, December 16. A verdict has been handed down in a case of assault on a 2-year-old. A 38-year-old man and a 46-year-old man have just been sentenced to detention at a court in Holstebro. A 37-year-old woman will go to prison for 3 months in the same case. They have been convicted in a case of sexual assault on a 2-year-old girl and a number of other crimes. The 38-year-old man has, in addition to a number of other charges, been convicted of attempted rape of a 2-year-old girl and another rape during a sexual relationship other than intercourse with the same girl 3 months later. The 46-year-old man has also been convicted in several cases. The most serious are the cases where he is guilty of complicity in the assaults on the girl, as the two men had written about and planned for them to be carried out. The 46-year-old had expressed a desire for the 38-year-old to commit more assaults on the girl, the verdict states. The 37-year-old woman was found not guilty of complicity. She received a 3-month unconditional prison sentence for complicity in violence against a woman and sharing a photo. To a different story from Wednesday, December 16. Be careful if you receive a message about a new health insurance card. Danes are being targeted by phishing scams claiming they need to renew or update their health insurance card. The scams arrive via SMS or email and appear highly convincing, using correct Danish, familiar logos, and websites that closely resemble official pages such as sunhild.dk. The fake sites ask for personal details and a small payment for card delivery, often through PostNord or DHL, which leads to theft of CPR numbers and payment card information. The domains typically look similar to official ones but use misspelling or endings like .com or .info. Investigations show that the sites are part of large international phishing networks, also imitating brands like Netflix, the Danish tax agency, and delivery services. Authorities warn that while health cards are currently targeted, similar scams may involve mobile pay, mid-ID, or utility companies. To the last of our main story from December 16, LuxPlus was reported to police for misleading numerous European consumers. LuxPlus APS has been reported to the police by the Danish Consumer Ombudsman for allegedly misleading consumers in Denmark, the Netherlands, and Belgium. Customers buying discounted beauty products were not clearly informed that they were signing up for a paid subscription. Authorities received several complaints that consumers were enrolled without realizing it. In Denmark, LuxPlus is also accused of implying that discounts required membership even when the same price were available without subscribing. The Consumer Ombudsman calls this a serious breach of marketing law. LuxPlus denies the allegations, stating that its marketing and subscription model comply with current regulations. Now to some other news. We begin on Friday, December 11. 2 Danish men are jailed in Denmark on European arrest warrants issued by Spain in connection with the killing of a Danish man in southern Spain earlier this year. Nets and Danske Bank warn of a new fraud scheme at border shops where customers are asked to donate via payment terminals, but amounts are manipulated, causing large financial losses. A 45-year-old man is expected to confess in court to extensive grooming and indecent assault involving at least 48 underage girls. A 65-year-old man charged with attempted rape of an elderly resident at a care home is released by the High Court but remains charged. 2 Bandidos members are sentenced to 12 years in prison for the murder of René Carstensen at Dragør Fort. The sentence is reduced from an earlier ruling. A 56-year-old man from Roskilde is remanded in custody for stalking after violating a restraining order and attempting to contact a woman 152 times. A 48-year-old man is arrested and charged with serious violence following a knife attack in Silkeborg. A 22-year-old man is arrested and charged with killing a 58-year-old family member in Hornslet. The High Court increases the sentence in a traffic case where 3 elderly people were killed, citing particularly aggravated negligence. A former senior executive at Danish Industry resigns from a state-linked board after a drink-driving conviction. A company in Viborg receives an immediate safety order after a serious workplace accident involving heavy machinery. Now to news from Saturday, December 12th. A 15-year-old boy is arrested at a school in Aarhus after making threats toward another student. Police are investigating possible links to similar incidents. Police find a person dead following a house fire in Langebæk near Vordingborg. The victim is believed to be the homeowner. A 50-year-old man is charged in a decade-old rape case involving an elderly woman, following DNA family matching. 6 people are remanded in custody for extortion, car bombing, and vandalism after a coordinated criminal case in Copenhagen. 2 men are jailed for 4 weeks in connection with robbery, attempted robbery, and witness threats in Kolding. An investigation reveals illegal sales of parts from endangered animals, including tiger teeth and shark fins, on Facebook. Denmark's armed force purchased runways and key infrastructure at Aarhus Airport for 70 million kroner. Lidl withdraws a heavily discounted butter offer after demand far exceeded supply. The journalism program at the University of Southern Denmark simplifies its entrance exam to attract more applicants. The region of Zealand announces 12 permanent breast cancer screening locations, replacing mobile screening units. The Consumer Council warns that many facial masks contain potentially harmful chemicals, including suspected PFAS, a hormone-disturbing substances. Now to news from Saturday, December 13th. A 15-year-old boy is remanded in custody after a machete attack and death threats at 2 schools in Aarhus. He admits possession of weapons but denies violence. Another suspect arrested in a brutal assault case in North Jutland. 3 men already jailed over the attack on a 52-year-old man. A 36-year-old man in North Zealand is jailed after police uncovered around 40,000 kroner in counterfeit coins. The man involved in a serious traffic accident on the Funen motorway is now out of danger. One of his 2 dogs died. The government announces a new 24/7 situation center to detect and counter hybrid attacks funded with 1 billion Danish kroner. The last lesbian bar in the Nordic countries, Villa Gay Club in Copenhagen, closes after nearly 20 years. Odense University Hospital plans to cut up to 250 jobs across 4 areas. The number of men taking parental leave has risen by nearly 60% since 2022. Now to news from Sunday, December 14th. 18 Norwegian children were conceived using sperm from a Danish donor with a cancer-linked gene mutation. At least 197 children are affected worldwide. Malmö FF accuses FC Copenhagen of recruiting 80-year-old players. FCK denies wrongdoing. A 21-year-old man is in a critical condition after a solo crash near Aarhus. The driver is suspected of drink driving. 3 people suffered burns after a gas explosion at a Christmas party in South Jutland. Denmark grants Pakistan a record 1.5 billion krona loan to build wastewater treatment facilities. Patients in North Jutland face waits of up to 3 years for certain eye operations. News from Monday, December 15. Police arrested a 24-year-old man in Nestville after he was seen carrying a knife and a sword outside a bar. He was charged under weapons laws and banned from the nightlife venue. A young man was found dead in a shelter near Fredericia. There is no suspicion of crime. A man convicted of poisoning protected birds with the nerve agent carbofuran. Fighter jets to fly over Copenhagen in a Christmas tree formation as part of a Nordic tradition. A Copenhagen supermarket chain has locked up expensive items like the cheese, gammelknæs, meat, wine, and caviar due to a sharp rise in shoplifting, which has increased by 80% in recent years and cost the grocery sector billions annually. Fireworks sales begin nationwide, with police urging citizens to buy only from authorized sellers. In employment, new figures show rising employment among immigrants, senior working longer, and growing foreign labor in Denmark. Tuesday, December 16th. Danes linked to LTF arrested in Norwegian phone scam. 5 Danish nationals are charged in Norway over telephone fraud targeting elderly people. Some suspects reportedly have ties to the gang loyal to Familia LTF. Murder suspect extradited from Turkey. A man has been extradited to Denmark and appeared in court in Glostrup, suspected in a springtime shooting where a man was killed in front of a 12-year-old girl in Søborg. 2 arrested after hand grenade found in Randers. Police discovered a live hand grenade at an address in southwest Randers. A 34-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman were arrested. 34-year-old man sentenced to 12 years for fatal stabbing. A Lithuanian man received a 12 years prison sentence for a knife killing last year and will be deported after serving his sentence. Drug sales at a school in Frederiksberg. 2 men aged 23 and 29 were arrested for selling cannabis at an educational institution and found with drugs and large amounts of cash. Women isolated and abused. A 39-year-old man was sentenced to 5 years in prison for long-term abuse, rape, and social control of 2 former partners. Teen denies robbery of an elderly man. A 19-year-old has pleaded not guilty to robbing a 67-year-old man at a knife point in Kjellerup. Man jailed for holding Tinder date captive. A 51-year-old man was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for unlawfully detaining a woman for 4 days and subjecting her to rape, threats, and violence. Police hunt violent shoplifter. Authorities are still searching for a man who stole meat and energy drinks in Aarhus before turning violent and escaping on a city bus. 4 party buses seized. Police confiscated 4 party buses from the same owner over suspected document forgery related to vehicle registration. New deal to strengthen opioid counseling for youth. Danish health authorities are boosting anonymous drug counseling with a focus on opioids over the next 3 years. Woman killed in traffic accident near Aalborg. A woman in her 40s dies after being struck by a vehicle near Aalborg Airport. Crisis shelter residents protected from benefit penalties. Victims of violence will be able to leave jobs and move to shelters without losing unemployment benefits. Nearly 11,000 families received Christmas aid. Charity Blå Kors is providing Christmas assistance to 10,991 families aimed record demand. Dot-Bileta app shuts down. After 6 years, the public transport ticket app is closing. Tickets must now be purchased via the Reisebillet or Reisekort apps. Travel warning for Thai islands. Denmark's foreign ministry advises against travel to areas near the Thailand-Cambodia border, including popular islands like Koh Chang, due to rising tensions. Now to some Danish business news. The EU agrees on a €3 customs fee on low-value parcels from non-EU companies from July of 2026, likely affecting Chinese platforms such as Temu and Shein. Nearly 15,000 loan offers were issued in November, up around 6% year-on-year. Petrol prices have fallen to their lowest level in over a year, while the average electricity price for 2025 is the second lowest in 5 years, driven by wind and solar power. Pandora appoints a new CEO from 2026, and Maersk announces a change of CFO next year. Microsoft plans to build 3 new data centers in West Jutland. Novo Nordisk launches diabetes drug Ozempic on the Indian market. Danish films reach a record share of 40% of cinema ticket sales. Luxury retail group 88 and music festival Aya Sound filed for bankruptcy. Stay updated on all the latest news. Subscribe to Danish-InfoNewsTv now and never miss a story.